Or Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahshua HaRachakadash, the bondest of apostles, a great millstone, and salutations to your elect, which you ought to be. Now, it's your brother Hawaiian. Got a quick lesson for you Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelites who better shame looking like heathens. Spirit bear witness that their child, the Heavenly Father. In the name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, who the world inly calls Jehovah, God of Yahweh. In the name of the Heavenly Son is Yahweh Shai, who the world inly calls Jesus Christ, who is Christ, so Yeshua. So this is going to be a quick it's going to be a quick lesson. Any other preachers come out, you already know it's Holy Spirit. So Holy Spirit, like believe it or not. And, it's really just going to be on various topics and whatnot as I go through these scriptures. You know what I'm saying? But one point that I want to make, you know what I'm saying? I was watching, I was watching, like an individual, the people be doing the reactions to certain videos and stuff, right? And it was one where, the Pope came out of nowhere. And whatnot and stuff. And it was Brian and Stewie and stuff. And he was like, how dare you make fun of the bishop or whatever he was and whatnot and stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? With his bald head ass and stuff, right? When he came out and he looked up to the skies and he said, smite them. And he pointed at them and stuff, right? Smite them, And then, the reactor and stuff, she looking, and then she get to squinting and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, well, depending on how, I don't know what her thought process was and stuff, but when it come down to her facial expressions and stuff, it was like, see, it don't work that way and whatnot and stuff. And the thing is that, well, first and foremost, look how old boy was doing it. He was commanding the Lord. You don't command the Lord anything. You ask the Lord. You see, the word prayer means it means palau in the Hebrew, the Allah, which means to ask or to beg. You know what I'm saying? You see, So the thing is that in that clip, he was telling the Lord to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's in, and that's completely wrong and whatnot and stuff, right? Now, the other point that I want to make is that not every time is it going to be right then and there. Sometimes it might be later on, you see? And that's what people don't consider. You know what I'm saying, right? Right, so actually, I'm going to come out with this. This is Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. And it says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, right? Meaning that it doesn't happen right then and there. You know what I'm saying? Because the first thing in most people's minds and stuff is like, Jake will sit up here and be like, if I'm lying, I'm dying. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord can catch you up on that lie later on in life. You see? Right? And it's like, you put the curses and people like, oh, nothing still happened. It's been a week. It's been 2 weeks and whatnot and stuff. You don't even know. We don't know if the Lord accepted the curse or accepted the prayer or not. You know what I'm saying, right? So this is Ecclesiastes 8 and 11 again. It says that because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. You know what I'm saying? It's like it didn't happen yet. It ain't happened. It ain't happened yet. And they think that, the Lord ain't with you and whatnot and stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? It says, verse 12, it says, though a sinner do evil 100 times or more, and his days be prolonged. See? Right? It said, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear Yahweh Bashim Yashai, which fear before him. Right? Verse 13, it says, but it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Right? So, the scripture says in the book of Job, you know what I'm saying, that the Lord is the one who numbers our steps. You know what I'm saying? He knows, what time and point in your timeline, you know what I'm saying, when he gonna jack you up. You see? And the scripture says, that when it comes down to it's in Luke, I think the 11th or the 12th chapter and stuff. I think it's like verse 46 or 45, and it clearly goes into like, when the person is not aware and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's when the Lord gonna roll on you. You know what I'm saying? And it's not gonna come by observation. You know what I'm saying? like in Final Destination and stuff, they was trying to be careful as hell and stuff to avoid everything and stuff that could have possibly killed them. You know what I'm saying? And they probably avoided this and avoided that and stuff. But when they time came, it was no escaping. You see? You know? But it was a later time. You see? Right? Right? And it was unexpected. They expected that they was gonna die, but how they were gonna die, they didn't expect that. Right? So I wanna go into another example, you know what I'm saying, and it's gonna be a longer sit down than usual. So this is Second Samuel chapter 11, verse 1. It says, and it came to pass after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all of Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon, the Japanese, and besieged Rabbah. It says, but David tarried still at Jerusalem. It says, and it came to pass in an eventide that David arose from off his bed. It says, and walked upon the roof of the king's house, and from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. Verse 3, it says, and David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, it is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam? It says, the wife of the Uriah the Hittite, right? So she was already married to somebody, right? She was already taken. Verse 4, it says, and David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him. And they had sex, and he laid with her, right? It says, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. It says, verse 5, it says, which is Leviticus the 15th chapter. Verse 5, it says, and the woman conceived and sent and told David and said, I am with child. And David sent to Joab, saying, send me Uriel the Hittite. You know what I'm saying? Now, Uriel the Hittite, he wasn't a heathen. He was an Israelite and stuff from the land of Hittite, from Hittite, you see. It says, and Joab sent Uriah, you know what I'm saying? This brother's name is a warrior, you know what I'm saying, flame of Yahweh or light of Yahweh, right? Well, flame gives off light, right? It says, and when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did. It says, and how the people did, and how the war prospered. And David said to Uriah, go down to thy house and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat from the king. It says, but Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house. Verse 10, it says, and when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, camest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down unto thine house? You know what I'm saying? So because pretty much King David already popped her, popped his wife, had sex with his wife, he committed adultery. You know what I'm saying? And she said, she told him that she was pregnant and whatnot. So what King David was trying to do was cause Uriah to go back to his wife Bathsheba. You know what I'm saying? So you can think that if she was pregnant, that it was actually his. You know what I'm saying, right? That it was Uriah's and not actually somebody else's, right? It says, verse 11, it says, and Uriah said unto David, the ark in Israel and Judah abide in tents. It says, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open fields. Shall I then go into my house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife? It says, as thou livest. It says, and as thy soul liveth. You know what I'm saying? Because what was going to happen? To lie with his wife and whatnot and stuff. And women do this till this day. What do? They have sex with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Get pregnant. And then the new dude that they come through and stuff, they wait for them to have sex. You know what I'm saying? Try to say that the condom broke. You know what I'm saying? Or try to put holes in the condoms. You know what I'm saying? Right? Or complain about, to put at you cheating card and whatnot, so you can feel some type of sympathy for them and stuff, and want to have sex with them raw and whatnot and stuff, because they know that they already pregnant, or they know that they had sex with some other dude and stuff, raw dogging, and here it is and stuff. They want you to be the guy and stuff to pay for the child, so they'll lie. You know what I'm saying? And this is found in the scriptures. The same act is found in the scriptures. You see, you know, but because Uriah, he would have came through, like it said. It says back in verse 11. It says, "Shall I then go into my house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife?" That word "lie," you know what I'm saying? It says shakab. You know what I'm saying, right? And it says to lie down, sexual connections, to have sex with his wife. You know what I'm saying? But she would have been pregnant already, even though it's not being seen. You know what I'm saying? She still got her regular body and whatnot and stuff, but she impregnated by King David. And then when Uriah would have came through, he would have busted a nut in her. You know what I'm saying? Busted enough in Bathsheba. You know what I'm saying? Thinking and then when the baby would have formed and whatnot, he would have thought that that was his baby when really it was King David's. You know what I'm saying? And women do that all the time. That's why a paternity test is a must need. You see? Right? So it says and it says, "As thou livest and as thy soul liveth, I went not, I would not do this thing." You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, y'all still on the battlefield, I'm still fighting. You know what I'm saying, right? It says, "And David said unto Uriah, Tarry here today also and tomorrow, and I will let thee depart." So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and tomorrow. And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk. It says, "And at evening he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his Lord, but went not down to his house." You know what I'm saying? Right? Right? Because he would have saw Bathsheba, you look good and whatnot and stuff, be ready to have sex with her and whatnot and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Right? Because King David was trying to get him to go down there and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Right? He was on some wicked shit. Right? So it says, uh, verse 14, it says, "And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab," it says, "and sent it by the hand of Uriah." It says, "And he wrote in the letter, saying, Set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle." It says, "And retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die." So what he's doing, he was setting him up. Since all his other plans didn't work, he was setting him up, to die. You know what I'm saying, right? So this is verse 16. It says, "And it came to pass when Joab observed the city, that he assigned Uriah unto a place where he knew that violent men were. It says, "And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab, and there fell some of the people of the servants of David, and Uriah the Hittite died also." You see? Then Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war, and charged the messengers, saying, "When thou hast made an end of telling the matters of the war unto the king," it says, "and if so be that the king's wrath arise, and he say unto thee, Wherefore approach ye so nigh unto the city when ye did fight?" It says, "Knew ye not that they would shoot from the wall?" It says, "Who smote the Abimelech, the son of Jerubasheth?" It says, "Did not a woman cast a piece of millstone upon him from the wall, that he died in Thebes?" It says, "Why went ye nigh the wall?" It says, "Then say thou, Thy servant Uriel the Hittite is dead also." You see, right? And so he's just relaying the message and whatnot and stuff, that it actually prevailed. Verse 22, it says, "So the messenger went and came and shewed David all that Joab has sent him for. And the messenger said unto David, Surely the men prevailed against us, and came out unto us into the field, and we were upon them, even unto the entering of the gate. And the shooters shot from off the wall upon thy servants, and some of the king's servants be dead, and thy servant Uriel the Hittite is dead also." Then David said unto the messenger, Thus shalt thou say unto Joab, Let not this thing displease thee, for the sword devoureth one as well as another. Make thy battle more strong against the city, and overthrow it, and encourage thou him. It says, "And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah, her husband, was dead, she mourned for her husband." It says, "And when the morning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became," like how they do it in the army and stuff, or you in the police and whatnot and stuff, whatever authority that you are and stuff that's close to militant, you know what I'm saying, serve and protect and whatnot, the homeland and stuff, right? When when even like when it come down to Commissioner Gordon and stuff, you know what I'm saying, when he faked his death, you know what I'm saying, what did they do? You know what I'm saying? They came with that flag and folded up and whatnot and stuff. And when they show that and stuff to anybody that's been in the military or even amongst the police or FBI or whatever stuff, what happens? You know what I'm saying? That's a sign that they passed away, that they got killed in action. You know what I'm saying? KIA, you see? Right? Right? So they told her and stuff that your husband was dead, you know what I'm saying, and she started mourning, right? So once again, verse 27, it says, and when the morning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife and bare him a son. It says, but the thing that David had done displeased Yahweh, you see, right? So the thing is this, it says in Romans. All right, this is Romans 7:1, and it's also found in the Old Testament. You know what I'm saying? The tribe of Benjamin, you know what I'm saying, the so-called Jamaicans, West Indians, Trinidadians, and so on and so forth, right? Right. What happened is that what they did was that they slew uh, 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 the husbands of many women and whatnot and stuff, you know what I'm saying, and became their new husbands, you know what I'm saying, you see, you know, and this is what King David was doing and whatnot and stuff. But the thing is that he already committed adultery, and it was already let known, you know what I'm saying, that Bathsheba and stuff was taken, you know what I'm saying, right? And through the spirit, well, I'm gonna say, speaking as a man and whatnot and stuff, right? You know, uh, uh, the scriptures talk about how the woman's supposed to scream out and stuff, and I'm pretty sure Bathsheba didn't scream out at all because it was the king. You know what I'm saying? It's like an opportunity and stuff to have sex with some celebrity and stuff. You know, a woman till this day and stuff, she could sit up here and be like, "Oh, I love my husband and whatnot," selling them wolf tickets. But then if Jay-Z come out of nowhere and stuff, it's like, I want to deal with you. You know what I'm saying? Most of these women are not going to turn them down. You know what I'm saying, right? So this is Romans chapter 7, verse 1. It says, know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law have dominion over a man as long as he liveth. Verse 2, it says, for the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of her husband. You see, meaning that she'll be a free woman again. And that's what the Benjamites did and stuff. You know what I'm saying? They slew all their husbands and then took those women. You know what I'm saying, right? It says, verse 3, it says, so then if while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. And that's exactly what Bathsheba did. You see, she knew better and stuff. And it was another individual who says, like, is this not the wife of Uriah? You know what I'm saying? So King David knew. You know what I'm saying? But he was burned in his lust. I already think about having sex with her. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what leads to the action. You know what I'm saying? It always starts in the mind. You see? The temptation starts in the mind. You know what I'm saying? You see? Right? Ain't no such thing. My body had a mind of its own. No, it starts in the mind. You see? And it says, and she was down for it too. You know what I'm saying? It says, but if her husband be dead, she is free from the law. It says, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. You know what I'm saying? Right? But King David committed adultery. You know what I'm saying? And she's an adulteress as well. You know what I'm saying? Because other than that, she should have screamed out and stuff and was saying no, because all of them knew about the law. You know what I'm saying? Right? Right? So King David knew, you know what I'm saying? And let's see what the scripture says. So this is 2 Samuel 12:1. It says, in the Lord Yahweh, for all you guys out there and stuff who are single just like myself, you know what I'm saying, you don't have to worry about no female, you know what I'm saying, you don't have to worry about nobody and stuff trying to take you from some female you don't have, you see. So this is 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 1. It says, the Lord Yahweh sent Nathan Nathan unto David. It says, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. It says, the rich man had exceedingly many flocks and herds. You know what I'm saying? It says, but the poor man had nothing save one little ewe lamb, you know what I'm saying, which he had bought and nourished up. And it grew up together with him and with his children. It did eat of his own meat. It says, and drank of his own cup. It says, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. It says, it says, and there came, meaning he nursed it from the get-go and stuff, you know what I'm saying, it was part of the family. It says, and there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock, of his own herd. It says, to dress for the wayfaring man, the traveler. It says, that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him. You know what I'm saying? So this man had the rich man, you know, he had plenty of lambs that he could have sacrificed, but instead he take this man's one only lamb. You know what I'm saying? You see, you know, right? He had more than enough, but he took from somebody and stuff who barely had enough. You see, right? It says, verse 5, it says, and David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and he said to Nathan, it says, as the Lord Yahweh liveth, the man that have done this thing shall surely die. So what he do? The Lord sent, you know what I'm saying, sent a lesser prophet, you know what I'm saying, because King David wasn't just a king, he was a prophet as well. You know what I'm saying, but what did the Lord do? He revealed the iniquity that King David did, not onto King David, but onto a lesser prophet. You see, right? Right. And what happened? You know what I'm saying? He showed him the parable and stuff, and it's like, look, you getting angry and whatnot and stuff, but guess what? You done the same thing too. You know what I'm saying, right? It says verse 6. Verse 6. It's like it. All right, so this is verse 6. It says, and he shall restore the land fourfold because he did this thing and because he had no pity. And that's also in the book of Exodus and stuff, you know what I'm saying? If you took away something that wasn't yours and whatnot and stuff, you know what I'm saying, you're supposed to repay it back fourfold. And for the fact fourfold, you know what I'm saying, and like say if you stole one lamb, you know what I'm saying, you get caught in the act and whatnot and stuff, guess what? You're going to have to sit up here and repay back four lambs. You know what I'm saying? If you couldn't afford that and stuff, that would be the reason that would cause people and stuff not to steal. And the scriptures always says in the Old Testament and stuff, you know what I'm saying, in the book of Exodus, the 20th chapter, it says, thou shalt not steal, which is part of the 10 commandments. You see? Right? Right? An order, a demand. Do not do this thing. You know what I'm saying? You see? Right? And it says verse 6 again, it says, and he shall restore the land fourfold. Right. Fourfold, which wait, hold on. Fourfold, right? And I said, because he did this thing and because he had no pity, right? It's the word chamal. You know what I'm saying? Commensurate, to spare, have compassion, have pity, pretty much have mercy, right? And it says, verse 7, it says, and Nathan said to David, thou art that man, thou art the man. It says, thus saith the Lord power Yahweh of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. It says, and I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. It says, and if that had been too little, I will moreover have given unto thee such and such things. Meaning that you didn't have to sit up here and take another man's wife. You could have just asked me for another female. And guess what? She would have came through. I would have had it set up. You was going to run to her. You was going to see somebody else and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But instead, you wanted somebody else's girl. You know what I'm saying? You see? Right? Right? It says, verse 9, it says, wherefore hast thou despised, and it's still adultery and stuff if she's betrothed already. You know what I'm saying? You see, they don't necessarily have to have sex and stuff, but if they're betrothed, you know what I'm saying, meaning that she's promised to have sex with this man, you know what I'm saying, that would still be considered as adultery and stuff, because it's already been arranged, because women are property, it's already been arranged that one man's daughter is going to marry some other man's son, you see. And what is that? That marriage is through sex. You know what I'm saying? You see? Arranged marriage. The only reason why arranged marriage exists, within the Bible. What I'm saying, and the mothers cannot. The mothers can the mothers what the mothers can do. They can sit up here and be like, what was it? What was it? It was Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. What I'm saying? All those women that was coming through, those were arranged marriages. What I'm saying? By other kings with his kingdom. What I'm saying? You see? And the thing is that he had to choose. Now, mothers, they can sit up here and be like, you might like this girl or like that girl and stuff. But in the end and stuff, mothers cannot declare the marriage. You know what I'm saying? That's between fathers and fathers. And if the son is 12 years old, if the son is 12 years old or older, you know what I'm saying, and he does not accept the choices of the father or the mother, you know what I'm saying, guess what? They can't do anything and stuff because he's of age. Now he might still be a young man and whatnot and stuff, but he's of age to choose what he want and what he don't. You know what I'm saying? You see, right? So this is Second Samuel 12:9. It says, "Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight?" It said, "Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword." And it's like, but I ain't touch him. I ain't bring out my sword out my sheath and stuff and slayed him before me. His blood is not on my garment. His blood is not on my sword. His blood is not on my hands. But he set him up to get killed. So it was still his fault. You know what I'm saying? So for those stuff, I'm gonna set you up and whatnot and stuff like this. This ain't Kingpin from Spider-Man and whatnot. Well, the police know that he did it and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But they can't use there's no proper cause and no proof and whatnot and stuff. They know that they sent the henchmen. You know what I'm saying? The henchmen, they can sit up here and be like, oh, it was Kingpin. He made me do this and made me do that and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But he can sit up, but Kingpin, the big fat white guy and stuff, you know what I'm saying? You always dressed in all white with the purple underneath. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, I understand what he said and stuff, but the thing is, you can't prove that I did anything. You have no evidence. You know what I'm saying? Right? Right? When it comes down to the Lord, it's like, nah, we see everything. You know what I'm saying? Proper recalls is the angels because they see everything. You see, they even see what goes on in your mind. You see, so even if you think of an evil plan or a plot to try to do this and do that or set somebody up to get them jumped, get them killed, get them robbed, you know what I'm saying? Or however it is, whatever harm that you're trying to bring to this individual and stuff, right? Why you feel entitled or not? The thing is that it would be blood on your hands, even though you're not the one who did the action. You see, you know. So what's that song by Future? Ain't no way around it. Ain't no way around it. Ain't no way around it. You know what I'm saying? You see, ain't no way around it, right? So it says, verse 9 again, it says, "Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight?" It says, "Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon." It says verse 10, because he set him up. Verse 10, it says, "Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife." It says, "Thus saith," and I want to grab this right quick, because what is that? 11. I want to grab this. This is Leviticus chapter 20, verse 10. It says, "And the man that committed adultery with another man's wife," you know what I'm saying? This is what breaking wedlock actually is. Breaking wedlock and stuff is not having sex before you have marriage according to this world. You know what I'm saying? Putting a ring on it, engagement ring and all that bullshit and stuff. No. A true engagement and stuff is well, so like it's not the engagement ring wearing all white and black and stuff and setting some shit up somewhere in some around the beach and whatnot. No, you know what I'm saying? Uh, uh, um, because if all you all that call yourself Christians that do that man's tradition and whatnot, guess what? The only thing that you actually keeping that's biblical, you know what I'm saying, is the fact that, you all have like some grand feast or whatnot and stuff. You know what I'm saying, right? But other than that and stuff, marriage wasn't solidified by putting a ring on the ring finger. Marriage was solidified and stuff as soon as he had sex with her. You see? As soon as they had sex. You see? Right? Right? It says, so the breaking redlock and stuff, you know what I'm saying, is having sex with another man's woman, or a woman having sex with another man when she had sex with a man already and stuff, you see, right? So it says, and a man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, you know what I'm saying, the adulterer and adulteress shall surely be put to death. You know what I'm saying, right? So this is it says another man's wife. So we understand that Esau, even full-blooded spirited Caucasians, you know what I'm saying, like with me being an Israelite, you know what I'm saying, right? The thing is that from either the tribe of Gad or Levi, the thing is that and I know brothers gonna be like you said Gad first. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? We hardly guess it right. We gonna see, right? So the thing is that if there's a Caucasian and stuff, and I see a Caucasian couple, you know what I'm saying, and the woman, whatever happens and whatnot and stuff, she get to like it on me and she want to throw it back and stuff, and I know that's a man because it was evident before. If I have sex with her and stuff, and I know that was her man and whatnot, I have committed adultery, and I will be an adulterer and she'll be an adulteress. Now, even though they're not underneath the law, statutes, commandments and whatnot, if they full-blooded and spirited Caucasians, the thing is that I'm underneath the law, and it's the same isn't this well, the law still apply to me. You know what I'm saying? You see, and that's the same thing that happened when it came down to Joseph. You know what I'm saying? Pharaoh was a heathen. He was an Egyptian. You know what I'm saying? You see, and his wife, you know what I'm saying, was liking on Joseph, and she want to have sex with him. You know what I'm saying? You see, you know, and he was like, nah, and whatnot and stuff. And it was like, and Joseph told her, it's like, look, you might not be underneath the laws. Y'all probably could have sex with anybody you want, even if you take it or not. If you take it. You know what I'm saying, right? But the thing is, in my commandments and what I believe and following after Yahweh Shimon Shai and whatnot and stuff, in my power, I cannot do these things. You see, right? Right. So this is right. So another man's wife, meaning that it could be a heathen. You know what I'm saying, or another, or your neighbor's wife, and your neighbor's wife and stuff is another Israelite. You know what I'm saying? You see. Right, so this is back in second Samuel 12:11. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thy own house." You know what I'm saying, right? And this is the punishment that the Lord is putting upon him, a curse. It says, "And I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this son," meaning in this time frame. You see, verse 12. It says, "For thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun." You know what I'm saying? So guess what? He did it secretly. King David knew he was going off. He knew what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? That's why he was trying to have Uriah, go back and to he was trying to that was a setup too. Go back, deal with your woman. You know what I'm saying? you know, more than likely you're gonna have sex with her and whatnot, but that baby that's finna come, that ain't gonna be yours. It's gonna be mine. You're gonna be taking care of my child. You know what I'm saying? You see, you know, right? What women like to call a deadbeat. You know what I'm saying? Because he wouldn't, because the baby would have been taken care of and whatnot. But the thing is, one individual would have thought that the baby was his when really it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It would have been a lot of deceit going on. You see, right? So it was just a numerous of things that was going on with that one action. You see, right? So it says, for thou did it secretly, right? It's word Sathar, and it says a cover in a bad sense right now. You know what I'm saying? Backbiting. Now, backbiting ain't just talking back to somebody and stuff. You know what I'm saying? When you go into the word backbiting and stuff, it means to do something injurious from behind. And that's what he did. He committed adultery. You know what I'm saying? He went behind one of his fellow soldiers' back to have sex with his woman. You see, right? Disguise of hiding place, privily. You know what I'm saying? Secretly. You know what I'm saying, right? He went behind his back. You know what I'm saying, right? And it says, but I will do this thing, and that's an act of betrayal as well. You see, because here it is, Israelites deeply respected King David. You know what I'm saying? All that was in his army respected him and stuff because he wasn't like one of them soldiers that he wasn't one of those generals and stuff that sat back and whatnot. He was one who would fight, you know what I'm saying, right along with his men. You see? Right? So it says, to find out and stuff that you did this and did that and stuff, it's like, damn, the king, why would you do such a thing to me, man? I trusted you. I believed in you. I have utmost respect for you and honor and reverence and stuff. And you had sex with my girl? You see? You know? So it was that one action, brought many sins. You know what I'm saying? Right? But the Lord was dead on, right? It says, for thou did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. It says, and David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sin, thou shalt not die. You know what I'm saying? Because what was the punishment for committing adultery? You know what I'm saying? Because he ain't just committed adultery, he committed murder as well. You know what I'm saying, right? The punishment for adultery, as we read in Leviticus 20 and 10 and stuff, is death, whether if it's a woman or a man doing it. You see, right? It says, and he knew. That's why it said, for thou did it secretly. That means that King David knew what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? And it was a reason why it was being mentioned that is this not the wife of Uriah the Hittite? You know what I'm saying? Was because it was going to be let known and stuff that, look, this it was going to be let known, you know what I'm saying, that, hey bro, she taken already. You can't deal. But he wanted to because he was burned in his lust, right? And it says, verse 14, it says, howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die. And that was part of the punishment. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't a miscarriage. The child was sick. You know what I'm saying, right? Verse 15, it says, and Nathan departed unto the house, and the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick. It says, David therefore besought the Most High for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth. It says, and the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth, but he would not, neither did he eat bread with them. And it came to pass on the 7th day that the child died. And the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead. For they said, behold, while the child was yet alive, we spake unto him. It says, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How will he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead and stuff? So it's like, he over here, he was mourning. He was fasting and whatnot and stuff, hoping that the child's life, you know what I'm saying, will be spared. You know what I'm saying, right? And the Lord was like, no, but you got to understand this too. When you read John the 9th chapter and stuff, every individual, whether it's a baby or a toddler, a child, a teenager, whatnot, or even a full-fledged adult, the thing is that, if the Lord declared that because the scripture says in Ecclesiastes 3 and 15, right? Let me come back to it. Grab this Ecclesiastes, because it's the reason why I said, various topics. This Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. And it says that which hath been is now, and that which is to be have already been, and the Most High requires that which is past, whether if it's in your present life or in your previous life. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it. If Yahweh walked perfectly on the earth, why did he have to die? Now we understand that he had to be a sacrifice and stuff, but why he had to die? It's always a reason why somebody has to die. You know what I'm saying? Job 4:7, whoever perished being innocent. That's because in his previous life, you know what I'm saying? In his previous life as King Solomon, you know You know what I'm saying? And Adam, you know what I'm saying? As Adam and stuff, he brought evil into the world. As Solomon and stuff, he started worshiping the idols of the heathen women that he was dealing with, according to First Kings, the 11th chapter. You see, right? So he had to pay for those sins. You know what I'm saying? And if you think about it and stuff, remember the Lord is a balanced power. When it come down to him as Adam and stuff, he brought evil into the world. You know what I'm saying? So he had a lot of blood on his hands. So then with him being as Yahweh Shai and stuff, and also going to be that sacrificial lamb through the spirit, you know what I'm saying? Guess what? He didn't need no blemish. He couldn't commit any sins, and he couldn't commit any sins and stuff, and he walked perfectly as Yahweh Shai, you see? You know? You know? Right? So what he do? He counteract the things that he had done and stuff within that sacrifice and stuff. You see, because anybody who walked perfectly and whatnot, the Lord ain't gonna kill him. You know what I'm saying? He gonna translate them or whatnot and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why he had to, it was part of the prophecy first and foremost. But Yahweh Shai was that sacrificial lamb stuff, not for just his own sins. That's why it says that in Hebrews 7. You know what I'm saying? Not for just his own sins, but for our sins as well. You see? But he died and was his sins was purged away with his own death. You see? You know? You know? He wasn't just being placed in a situation where he was giving forgiveness onto all of Israel. He was also given forgiveness for his own sins, and it tells you that in Hebrews 7. But if he walked perfectly and he ain't do nothing worthy of death, you know what I'm saying, because the wages of sin is all death. You know what I'm saying? Then why he had to die? Besides it being a prophecy, you know what I'm saying? The Lord is always a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because of what he did in his past life. You see? Right? And this is Second Esdras 7:56. It says, for while we, and this is in Apocrypha, it says, for while we lived and committed iniquity. Iniquity goes into the Hebrew word Iwan, the I, the Wa, and the Na, Iwan, which means sin upon sin, or to pile up sins. You know what I'm saying? A multiple of sins. It says we considered not that we should begin to suffer for it after death. You know what I'm saying? So that proves reincarnation as well. You know what I'm saying, right? So going back to this, to 2 Samuel 12 and 18. 18, the child dying and whatnot and stuff, more than likely that child did something in his past life where it was going to live for 7 days. It was going to be sick right off the get-go and stuff, you know what I'm saying, and then die afterwards and stuff. You see? And read John the 9th chapter and stuff. You see? And Ezekiel 18 and 20. You see? Right? So it says verse 19, it says, but when David saw that his servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said unto his servants, is the child dead? And they said, he is dead. And they was just worried about telling him, because it's like, you've been afflicting yourself. You ain't been trying to eat. You've been separating yourself. You've been laying on the ground. You know what I'm saying? If he finds out that the child is dead and stuff, you know what I'm saying, he might sit up here and fuck around and try to off himself and whatnot and stuff. You see? Right? So verse 20, it says, then David arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his apparel and came into the house of Yahweh and worshiped. It says, then he came to his own house, and when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat. And it says, then said his servants unto him, what thing is this that thou hast done? Thou didst fast and weep for the child while it was alive, but when the child was dead, thou did rise and eat bread. It says, and he said, while the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept. It said, for I said, who can tell whether the Most High will be gracious to me that the child may live? It says, but now he is dead, because he fasted and stuff, hoping that the Lord was going to accept his sacrifice, afflicting his soul for the life of the child to continue to live. It says, and he said, while the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept. For I said, who can tell whether the Most High will be gracious to me, that the child may live? But now he is dead. Therefore, should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me. So it's like, there's no reason for me to fast anymore. The Lord gave me his answer. You know what I'm saying? That he was going to do exactly what he said. You see? Right? 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 And this happened later on. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because remember, the baby had to form in Bathsheba's room, which is a space of 9 or 10 months. You know what I'm saying? Right? You know, it didn't, the Lord didn't just cause Bathsheba to have a miscarriage. You know what I'm saying? Time went on, you see? And then the baby lived for like 7 days. You know what I'm saying? And then died on the seventh day. You see? So not every, if you send up curses or you ask Lord for deliverance and stuff, but he want to be violent to the one that he's delivering you from. You know what I'm saying? The thing is that it's not going to always happen like that. So going back to that video I was watching, you know what I'm saying? When you had that pastor, pope, or whatever he was and stuff, bishop, you know what I'm saying, right, or deacon, whatever he was, the thing is that he was sitting up here, he was like, how dare you make fun of me? Smite them! And looked up into the sky. And it was like, he's cooking something up and whatnot. And that was legit. He's cooking something up. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures talk about, before we even pray for it and whatnot and stuff, the Lord has already done it. You know what I'm saying? But the time frame is on his time, not on ours. Sometimes it can be like that. Sometimes it will wait. You see? Right? Right? Right. So this is 2 Samuel 16. Right. And then and remember, remember, I'm gonna scroll back up. Bear with me. Um This is 2 Samuel 12:9. It says, wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight? That it says, thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite, which is an Israelite, with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. He set him up. Verse 10, it says, now therefore the sword shall never depart from thy house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. It says, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thy own house. It says, and I will take thy wives before thy eyes, and give them unto to thy neighbor, and he shall lie, meaning have sex with thy wives in the sight of the sun. It says, for thou did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun, meaning that he was going to do it openly and stuff within his timeline, meaning that King David was still going to be alive. You know what I'm saying? Right. So this is 2 Samuel's chapter 15, verse 6. And it says, and on this manner did Absalom, which was one of King David's sons, to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel, and it came to pass after 40 years, right? 40 years, that Absalom said unto the king, I pray thee, let me go and pray my vow, which I had vowed unto the Lord in Hebron. Right. So it's 40 years. And this was the time that the Lord was going to, not just because he did it. It still took time when it came down to the child to be put to death. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because it was going to afflict King David, you know what I'm saying, and Bathsheba and stuff, right, as well. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a baby. Right. Especially of King David's loins. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures talk about, the sorrow of children being lost, you know what I'm saying, and the parents are still alive. Right. So, uh, um, um, you know, so he already did that, but that still took time. The Lord waited until the baby to be born and stuff, then to kill it on the seventh day. You know what I'm saying? You see, and made it sick. So he was going through torment and terror and whatnot and stuff, right? Right. So this is this is 2 Samuel 16:5. It says, and when King David came to Bahurim, behold, thence came out a man of the family of the house of Saul, It says whose name was Shimei, Shamia, Shimei, Shimei. It says the Shimei. It says the son of Gera. He came forth and cursed still as he came, and he cast stones at David and at all the servants of of King David, and all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left, because King David fled. Because when you read in that 15th chapter and stuff, Absalom, you know what I'm saying, he was low key and stuff, winning the hearts of men, you know what I'm saying, and trying to take the throne of King David. You know what I'm saying? When you continue to read and stuff, that's exactly what he did, right? So they fled, you know what I'm saying? And Absalom came into Jerusalem, and you know what I'm saying? And he was sitting in the seat, you know what I'm saying, of his father. You know what I'm saying? Absalom was going off, you know. He was also catching people with his dazzling looks. You know what I'm saying, right? Right. So it's verse Verse 6, it says, and he cast stones at David and at all the servants of King David, and all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left. It says, and thus says Shaniah, it says, when he cursed, come out, thou bloody man, and thou man of Belial. It says, the Lord have returned unto thee all the blood of the house of Saul. It says, in whose stead thou hast reigned. It says, and the Lord had delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom thy son. It says, and behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man. I'm gonna skip to verse 10. It says, and the king, it says, and the king said, what have I to do with you, ye sons of Zariah? It says, so let him curse, because the Lord hath said unto him, curse David. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, the Lord is the Father of all spirits. It says, curse David, who shall then say, wherefore hast thou done so? And David said to Abishai, it says, and to all his servants, behold, my son, which come forth of my bowels, seeketh my life. It says, how much more now, remember he said, the sword will depart. It says, how much more now may this Benjamite do it? It says, let him alone and let him curse, for the Lord hath bidden him. You know what I'm saying? And this was 40 years afterwards. You see, right? That the judgment was catching up to King David for what he done, and the Lord said it. You know what I'm saying? And do you think that King David had it in his mind all them times and stuff? When is the Lord gonna judge me? When he gonna judge me? When is who's gonna come after me? You know what I'm saying? Right? And it says how much the more now. So like it says, verse 12. It says so King David got cursed. You know what I'm saying? He got rocks thrown at him. Verse 12, it says, it may be that the Lord will look on my affliction, and that the Lord will requite me good for his cursing this day. It says, verse 13, and as David and his men went by the way, Shimei went along on the hills, on the hillside over against him, and cursed as he went, and threw stones at him and cast dust. You know what I'm saying? You see, right? So that was part of his punishment. Let's get to verse 20. It says, then said Absalom to Ahithophel, it says, give counsel among you what we shall do. You know what I'm saying, right? I'm gonna start at 18. 15. It says, and Absalom and all the people and all the people, the men of Israel, came to Jerusalem, and Ahithophel, you know what I'm saying, with him, you know what I'm saying, which was a counselor of King David, but he became a counselor of Absalom. It says, and it came to pass when Hushai, the Archite, David's friend, was come unto Absalom, that Hushai said unto Absalom, the Most High saved the king. The Most High saved the king, meaning King David was alive. The reason why he was, not in Jerusalem, sitting on the throne. It says, and Absalom said to Hushai, it says, is this is this thy kindness to thy friend? Why wentest thou not with thy friend? And Hushai, and he was acting as a spy, as it said unto Absalom, Nay, but whom the Lord and this people and all the men of Israel choose his will I be, and with him will I abide. And he because he sent he also had other Israelites and stuff, you know what I'm saying, priests, you know what I'm saying, meaning they had to be Levi and whatnot and stuff. They was priests, you know what I'm saying, and told them to abode with the ark and stuff in Jerusalem and stuff, and pretty much be his eyes and ears. And Hushai was also on that same note as well, because he was the friend of King David. And the thing is that the reason why they fled was because, since Absalom got the hearts of men and whatnot, it was like, Absalom could sit up here and be like, kill my father. You know what I'm saying? And the people would have been on that shit. You know what I'm saying? And it was actually Ahithophel. You know what I'm saying? He was like that. I will slay you. I will slay your father, the king. You know what I'm saying? By my own hands. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how much Absalom convinced the people to follow him instead of his own father. You know what I'm saying? You see, King David, who was still the king, right? So King David fled out of fear of death. You know what I'm saying? But he had individuals and stuff that was still there and stuff to keep him on part to see what was going to happen. Was his son going to try to come after him to kill him? You know what I'm saying? Or would it be okay for him to come back? You see, right? So it says, verse 19, it says, Again, whom should I serve? Shall I not serve in the presence of his son? As I have served in thy father's presence, so will I be in thy presence. Then said Absalom to Ahithophel, it says, Give counsel among you what we shall do. And Ahithophel Thophel said unto Absalom, Go in unto thy father's concubines. What is a concubine? A second wife. You know what I'm saying? You see? Paramour. You know what I'm saying? You see? A second wife, a side chick. Women who are heathen women. You know what I'm saying? So, and I also want to bring this out because, you got a lot of women when you go to 1 Kings 11. When you go 1 Kings 11, they try to say, you know, they try to say that the reason why Solomon and stuff was put to death was because he dealt with other women. But right now, you know what I'm saying, as you can tell, you know what I'm saying, you see, as you can tell, King David had concubines, but that wasn't the reason why King David but the Lord didn't have no beef with King David. You know what I'm saying? The Lord didn't have beef with King David, you know what I'm saying, for having concubines. Right? So for all you women out there, you Negroes, Latinos, and Natives and Israelites who have appearances out of heathen and stuff, right? But mostly the Israelites who look like typical Israelites and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Israelite men can deal with the Israelite women and the heathen women. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord ain't gonna jack us up for it. You know what I'm saying? You see? So get that through your skull, right? So going back, verse 21, it says, And Ahithophel said unto Absalom, Go in unto thy father's concubines, right? Meaning that he already popped them, you know what I'm saying, right? Which he had left to keep the house, and all Israel shall hear that thou art abhorred of thy father, then shall the hands of all that are with thee be strong. It says, verse 22. You know what I'm saying? So Ahithophel, what did he do? He sat up here and told, you know what I'm saying, Absalom, the son of King David and stuff, to have sex with his concubines and stuff, you see? Right? Right? To plow another man's field. You know what I'm saying? If you can understand that, to sow seed amongst another man's garden. You know what I'm saying, right? It says, verse 22, it said, meaning go off, commit adultery. It says, so they spread Absalom a tent upon the top of the house and the top of the house, and Absalom went in onto his father's concubines, and in the sight of all Israel. And the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? He was a false advisor. It says, so was all the counsel of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom and stuff, because David had those to keep tabs on what was going on. You know what I'm saying? That was still loyal to David. You know what I'm saying? You know, right? So this is Second Samuel's. This Second Samuel chapter 12, verse 12. It says, for thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. You know what I'm saying, right? Well, I'm reading 11. 10. It says, now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken thy wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. And King David was a man of war. That's why he couldn't build up a temple. You know what I'm saying? Because he had too much blood on his hands. You see, right? Right. You know what I'm saying? You know. And that's why King Solomon, his son, was the one who had to build up the temple for Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. You see, right? Because because King David and stuff was constantly in war. You see, right? And it says, verse 11 says, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, his son Absalom. And it says, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes and give them unto thy neighbor. Who is the neighbor? Absalom, his son, another Israelite from the tribe of Judah. It says, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this son. It says, for thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. And that's exactly what his son had did. So it don't have to be right then and there. You know what I'm saying? You see, when it come down to curses. You know what I'm saying? You know, it don't have to be right then and there and stuff. For King David, you know, it was still in a space of time of 9 to 10 months and stuff. You know what I'm saying? For the baby to die, for the Lord to show that he was going to do what he said. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then it took 40 years afterwards and stuff for his son to commit adultery. You know what I'm saying? With his wives. You see, you know. Because the scripture says, once a man give himself a wife, he give himself a possession. You know what I'm saying? His son's sticky fingers was on his toys. You see? You know? When King David's sticky fingers and stuff were the first ones to play with those toys as soon as them gifts came from the Lord. You see? You know, but somebody else touched it. And it's like, I don't want that no more. And the scriptures also say that King David never touched them again, even when he came back to Jerusalem. You see? You know, so I hope this video was edifying. I'd like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Harachakarash. Double honors to apostles, great millstone, and salutations to the elect, which you ought to be. Shalom, wa Abba, Kwam Yasharallah.